Passion Week, also known as Holy Week, begins on Palm Sunday, when Jesus made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey. Monday, Jesus cleanses the temple. Tuesday, Jesus saw a withered fig tree and taught about the importance of faith. Jesus spent Wednesday in Bethany. Thursday, Jesus sent Peter and John ahead from Bethany to prepare for the Passover feast in the upper room. Later, Jesus arrives with the remaining of the disciples. Here is where we pick up their conversation. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table. The conversation takes a dramatic shift.
Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me.
Surely not me, Lord. Surely not me, Lord. Lord, is it I?
The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to the man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born.
Surely it's not me, Rabbi.
You have said no. You have said so.
Christ the King. It was at this point, during the celebration of the Passover feast, Jesus established what is commonly called Holy Eucharist or Holy Communion. We invite you to follow along and participate with the disciples. Prepare your communion sacraments you receive when entering the sanctuary.
All right, he says what he's going to say. All right, now.
So then we get to where he's going to say,
Take this.
as they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. Then he broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying,
Take this and eat it, for this is my body.
And he took the cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it. He gave it to them and said,
Each of you drink from it, for this is my blood, which confirms the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice to forgive the sins of men.
Now that Holy Communion has been established, the conversation takes another dramatic shift to a conversation between Jesus and Peter.
The conversation between Jesus and Peter. All right. This is predicts Peter's, okay. So is that your narrating part before Jesus speaks?
Yeah, right. So at that point, Jesus and Peter go into, Jesus starts speaking, yes.
You don't say this Jesus told him?
No, he may not say. Okay.
Okay.
That may have changed. All right. Go ahead.
This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go ahead into Galilee. We took that.
Is it me, Lord? Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord.
Begin to move off. You gotta.
Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord. No, it's not me.
Oh, okay. So okay. Go ahead. Yeah. So it's Peter. Yeah. Here comes Peter. So it seems like something is missing there. So when you predict, okay, Peter. So this is the conversation where Jesus is standing with Peter.
Right.
Okay. So what happened with the movement? Are they moving before? They get here. Yeah. Okay. So somehow, what was their cue? Oh, their cue was Galilee.
Galilee,
yes.
Okay. Which you did do. You guys did leave. And he said they gotta leave. But Jesus normally would have been sitting.
Yeah.
He was been
Jesus
right.
would have walked around.
He was walking around.
And stood right.
Right.
He was touching people as he said, one of you guys are one, and he made his way around.
All right.
Yeah, he
All
said
right.
that.
All right. So now, as Peter replied,
Lord, even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will not be made to stumble.
okay,
Or even if all fall away on account of you, I will not.
Truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.
Even if I have to die with you, I will not disown you.
okay, that's not on here. Okay, I don't see
Then he says, let's go to the Mount of Olives. Right?
Then he says, go to the Mount of Olives.
it. Okay, that's fine. You good? It's not on here. Okay, all right.
Now,
Okay,
this is your
This is
transition.
that's a
that I'm talking
transition.
about.
All right. So the next part that comes out is Peter.
In the courtyard.
Right. So Peter,
Peter.
stop, because you're walking out with Jesus, but you got to turn back around and be back to the center.
Following the Passover feast, Jesus led the disciples to the Mount of Olives to pray. While Jesus was speaking, a crowd came up. Judas was leading them. With a kiss, Judas betrayed Jesus. While Jesus was being led away, Peter followed at a distance. Peter eventually sat down in the courtyard. A servant girl saw him and said,
You were one of those with Jesus the Galilean, weren't you?
No, I don't know him.
This is the man that was with Jesus of Nazareth.
I don't know him.
We know you are him. You can tell by our Galilean accent.
Curse on my life, I don't know him.
Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times.
Oh my
And he
God.
went outside and wept bitterly.
I'm sorry.
You ready? Go from right
Yeah, let's do
there.
that
Go from
one.
right there.
Okay. All right. Come back. I want you to come back. To the scene. You have to fix it. Okay. Let's go back to this scene. Okay. Narrator.
Hey, Rabbis.
Narrator.
Who's the
Narrator.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there seems, I know that this is practice, but I need you to make sure that you speed up in essence of when they're to avoid the gap. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that they do stuff.
Right.
Then you narrate. I need you to go right into that narration.
Got it.
All right?
I'm with you.
All right, thank you. All right, just before Peter is in the garden, I need you to narrate, please.
All right. When following the Passover feast, Jesus led the disciples to the Mount of Olives to pray. While Jesus was speaking, a crowd came up. Judas was walking with them. With a kiss, Judas betrayed Jesus. While Jesus was being led away, Peter followed at a distance. Peter eventually sat down in the courtyard. A servant girl saw him and said,
You were one of those with Jesus the Galilean, weren't you?
No, I don't know him.
This is the man that was with Jesus of Nazareth.
I don't know him.
We know you are him. We can tell by our Galilean accent.
I swear on my life, I don't know him.
Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly.
Oh my Lord,
It's early Friday morning. The Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas. That's the transition right there too.
Okay. So, all right, so when Peter walks off, the narrator begins to speak. That's when I want Pilate to begin to move into position. Right? Do you need him to move before you finish or during?
I think if Pilate is there, once I start reading, he can walk out to his
All
spot.
right, so when Peter walks out, right, the narrator begins to speak. then that's your transition to begin to walk slowly onto the stage into position. All right, so narrator, please finish. Say your lines.
It's early Friday morning. The Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Now it was the governor's custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a well-known prisoner whose name was Barabbas, and there was Jesus the Messiah. So when the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them,
Which one of these prisoners do you want me to release? Is it Barabbas or Jesus of Nazareth? Which one is it?
Barabbas! 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 Barabbas!
What has Jesus done to be crucified? Which one do you want me to release?
Barabbas! Barabbas!
but the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas and have Jesus executed. Then he released Barabbas to them. But he had Jesus flogged and handed over to be crucified.
He washed his hands.
That's right. My bad. This is the favorite part.
Put it over your arm. All right,
You can't say about dirty.
all right, here we go. And sing.
Which one do you want me to release? I wash my hands of this.
Then he released Barabbas to them. But he had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified.
Okay, wait.
I'm supposed to say release.
Are you gonna say that part?
Okay. All right. Yeah. You guys that are sitting on the
I'm just taking
side,
notes. Listen.
you have to be my crowd, right? So I need to hear the Barabbas, Barabbas, Barabbas every time. Crucify, right?
Let's do it again.
Okay.
You next. I'm next.
We probably won't see it.
I'm
Wait,
next.
I have to say. I don't need me sitting at his the first one is Barabbas, and then the second one is crucified, right?
So I'm gonna say you gonna say the whole release part. I'll have to say you got it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So narrate, please.
Yes.
I need you to narrate your part just before.
Got it.
All right.
Perfect.
1, 2, 3, and sing.
It was early Friday morning. The Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Now it was the governor's custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a well-known prisoner whose name was Barabbas. And then there was Jesus the Messiah. So when the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them,
Which one of these prisoners do you want me to release?
that sounded too real.
Too early?
Yeah, too early. Because I was supposed to ask.
Say Barabbas.
Is it Barabbas?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Never say your very last line, please.
Pilate asked them,
Which one of these prisoners do you want me to release? Is it Barabbas or Jesus of Nazareth? What has Jesus done to be crucified? Which one do you want to release? I wash
At 9 a.m., Jesus arrives. 9 a.m., Jesus carries his own cross. The soldiers cast lots for his clothing. Then nailed large stakes through Jesus' hands and ankles to the old rugged cross. Then they lift the cross up. 10 a.m., Jesus is mocked by soldiers. At noon, the 6th hour, darkness comes upon the entire land. At 11 a.m., Jesus begins to speak from the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And to thy hands I commit thy spirit. At 3 p.m., Jesus bows his head and takes his last breath. He is hung on the cross for 6 hours. At this point, the earth began to quake. Those who had died, many walked out of their tombs and walked the streets. The soldiers even broke the legs of the thief. Time out. So are we doing that scene now?
The tomb.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, take it to the.
All right.
So, you say your part, you're gonna say.
I'm going to say my part, but I'm not going to come out till after this part. I got it.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So we'll start again. Okay. An earthquake takes place, and the veil in the temple tears in two from top to bottom. Tombs open, and bodies of many people who had died are raised and walk the streets. The soldiers break the legs of the thieves. Jesus had already died. Therefore, his legs were broken to fulfill prophecy. A centurion pierced Jesus' side, and water and blood flowed. The centurion responded, "Surely he was the Son of God." Jesus is laid in a tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, a Pharisee. And a stone was placed over the entrance of the tomb.
So, there's no line here, so.
No, there's no line.
So, is this musical?
It's music
Yeah,
playing,
there's music playing.
and then that's not coming out until it's out at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, so as I'm coming out,
Let me ask a question. So as you're coming out, how should we split off? Or do we just go back where we came?
When he comes out to finish the talk narrating part,
Yeah.
just slowly walk off. One can go this way, two can go that way.
Okay. So,
Should we do like hand movies, like?
Yeah, I thought that's what you guys were, part of y'all.
we had our Smiths and and all of that.
Okay. You had your Frankie, okay.
got it. Okay. Jesus was laid in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, a Pharisee, the one who came to Jesus late at night with Nicodemus. And a stone was placed over the entrance of the tomb. The tomb was then sealed. We don't know if the tomb was sealed with a cylinder or a circular type stone or a square stone. But what we know is that the tomb was sealed. The followers of Jesus at this point were afraid. They felt doomed. They felt lost. Because sealed in this tomb was their hope. Sealed in the tomb was their joy, was their peace. Yada, 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 yada. So this is where we end tonight. But we encourage you to come back on Easter Sunday morning. We will pick up right here. First service will be at 8:30 to 9:30. And it will feature agape, dancers, and Pastor Diaz. The second service, it will include the Christ the King Choir, dancers, and our senior pastor, Pastor Mimi. And the third and final worship experience will be from 12 to 1:15 p.m. And it will include the Christ the King Choir, the drummer team, and our senior pastor, Pastor Neely.
The only thing I want you to get rid of is Easter. Say resurrection.
Got you. Got it.
I understand.
I got you. I got you.
I understand. All right. Looks good. I think that everyone just needs to really relax and let it flow, right? At this point, just relax. Some of your lines, if you on that day, if you mess up, keep going. Keep going, put in there. If you notice somebody missed a line, do not show, oh, you're supposed to go, right? You stay in character at all times. The next person will have to be paying attention. If you know that your lines is after Brother Maurice's line, then Peter, you've got to go. If you find that he is, you know what I'm saying, that there's missing, don't react. Never react. Stay in character. People are seeing this for the first time, so they're not going to be critiquing you and say, oh, you know, they messed up on this, right? You always keep going. We're going to do this again. I know we only supposed to have an hour practice, right? I would like to go through this nonstop, not me telling you, do this, go there. I want you to remember your place. Remember your line. Keep going. If you mess up, keep going. Do not stop. All right? We're going to go ahead and try this. Everyone go back and get in place. We're going to run this through. And remember, move into position as directed.
You want to get in position now or walk?
No, I want you to do your walking from the beginning. Do the walking, please. You showing us all about. I like the practice. Yes. Okay, so you on this side, right? Good. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have one person get here and one person. So I figured that out. Maybe Angela can help me or I need someone just to get you ready. Your stuff will have to be on the side, right? I'll have him. He'll be working more strategy stuff. You'll be Jordy's going to take him up. So he has two. He has two roles. Cycle and then prisoner. Coming down this side. You should be all in front. Yep, go. Please, just about in y'all talk on the side. Yeah. Somebody. That's going to be what's going to happen when he starts going on with Jesus. Walk around. Immediately coming to front. So that means probably right here on this side. Right. Yeah. So the mechanic can get ready. This stuff will be up here. He's going to throw on his ready. And then this side, I'm going to try to get him dressed as he's walking. This side. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me. All right, 1, 2, 3, and sing. All right, remember, narrator, I need you to move quickly into your speaking.
Passion Week, also known as Holy Week, begins on Palm Sunday, when Jesus made his triumphant entry into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey. Monday, Jesus cleansed the temple. Tuesday, Jesus saw a withered fig tree and talked about the importance of faith. Jesus spent Wednesday in Bethany. Thursday, Jesus sent Peter and John ahead from Bethany to prepare for the Passover feast in the upper room. Later, Jesus arrives with the remaining disciples. Here is where we pick up their conversation. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table. The conversation takes a dramatic shift.
Are you going to say, and while they were eating, he said?
No, I just said the conversation dramatic shift, and Jesus starts talking.
Okay, all right. So y'all just pretend, because Diaz, Pastor Diaz, he knows. All right,
Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me.
Surely not me, Lord. Surely not me, Lord. Lord, is it I?
The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to the man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born.
Is it I, Rabbi?
You have said so.
Christ the King. It was at this point during the celebration of the Passover feast. Jesus established what is commonly called Holy Eucharist or Holy Communion. We invite you to follow along and participate with the disciples. Prepare your communion sacraments you receive entering the sanctuary. As they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. Then he broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying,
Take this and eat it, for this is my body.
And he took the cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it. He gave it to them and said,
Each of you drink from it, for this is my blood, which confirms the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice to forgive the sins of men.
So now Wham is going to Whammas. You guys have a seat.
Jesus is down.
Jesus is down first, correct?
Jesus is down, and then you guys sit down, right? And then this is when the agape will do their part, right?
Right.
Right. Okay, so now let's go from there.
Now that Holy Communion has been established, the conversation takes another dramatic shift to a conversation between Jesus and Peter.
So Jesus is talking. Yeah, Jesus is talking.
This is where y'all eating, moving.
Yeah. Moving and talk. Okay.
This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go ahead of you into Galilee.
Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord.
Not me, Lord. Not me, Lord.
No, not you, Lord.
Not me, Lord.
Man, still talk.
Not me, Lord.
Right. Peter, if you move quicker. Move swiftly over to Jesus.
Even if all are made to fall because of you, I will not. Even if all stumble away because of you, I will not.
Truly I tell you this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.
Even if I have to die with you, I will not ever disown you.
Jesus is telling you to go. Let's go. Right?
Let's go to the Mount of Olives.
All right.
Following the Passover feast, Jesus led the disciples to the Mount of Olives to pray. While Jesus was speaking, a crowd came up. Judas was walking with them. With a kiss, Judas betrays Jesus. While Jesus was being led away, Peter followed at a distance. Peter eventually sat down in the courtyard. A servant girl saw him and said,
You were one of those with Jesus the Galilean, weren't you?
No, I do not know him.
This is the man that was with Jesus of Nazareth.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know you're him. You can tell by your accent.
I swear on my life, I don't know him.
Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly.
Oh, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord.
It's early Friday morning. The Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas to the palace of the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. Now it was the governor's custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a well-known prisoner whose name was Barabbas. And then there was Jesus the Messiah. So when the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them,
Which one of these prisoners do you want me to release? Is it Barabbas or Jesus of Nazareth? What has Jesus done to be crucified? Which one do you want me to release? I wash my hands of this. Release Barabbas.
and they sentenced Jesus to death. And now Jesus carried his own cross. The soldiers cast lots for his clothes. Then nailed large stripes through Jesus' hands and ankles to the old rugged cross. Then they lift the cross up. Jesus at 10 a.m. is mocked by the soldiers. It's now noon, the 6th hour. Darkness comes upon the face of the land. At 11 a.m., Jesus begins to speak from the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is finished, and to your hands I commit my spirit. At 3 p.m., the 9th hour, Jesus bows his head and takes his last breath. He is now hung on the cross for 6 hours. The earth begins to quake. The veil in the temple tears in two from top to bottom. Tombs open and bodies of many people who had died are raised to life. The soldiers break the legs of the thieves. Jesus had already died. Therefore, his legs were not broken to fulfill the prophecy. A centurion pierced the side of Jesus and blood and water flowed. He said, surely he was the Son of God. Jesus is laid in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, the one who came to Jesus at night with Nicodemus. A stone was placed over the entrance of the tomb. The stone that was placed over the tomb. Left my Sunday morning notes. The followers of Jesus are afraid. They go into hiding because their Messiah is sealed in a tomb. Their hope is in the tomb. Their joy is sealed in the tomb. So this is where we're going to end tonight. But we encourage you to come back Resurrection Sunday, where we will have 3 worship experiences for you. The first one will begin at 8:30 to 9:30. It will feature agape, Christ the King dancers, and Pastor DS. The second service begins at 11:15 to 11:30. It will feature the Christ the King choir, the Christ the King dancers, and our senior pastor, Pastor Mimi. The third and final worship experience begins at noon, 12 p.m. to 1:15, and it will feature the Christ the King choir, Christ the King drummer team, and our senior pastor, Pastor Mimi.
Thank you.